Tu bishvat sameach from Efrat in Israel. And I want to give you a little bit of a tour of our garden. Just to start off, in general, people have the assumption that Tu bishvat is the holiday of the beginning of spring. And as you can look around our garden, it does not look much like spring. Even though it definitely doesn't have snow on the ground, and there's a little bit of leaves on the trees, this is not springtime. This is the dead of winter. Even the shkidiyah that we have, the almond tree behind us, which is supposed to be the first tree that blossoms around Tu B'Shvat time, has nothing on it. It's completely bare. So what is Tu B'Shvat all about? What are we celebrating if it's not the springtime and the beginning of the budding of the trees? Before we get into why we celebrate Tu B'Shvat, I want to start off with just showing you around a few of the trees in the garden. Firstly, we have the trees that are actually the part of the Shivat Haminim. Now, what's special about the Shivat Haminim is, on the most basic sense, these are the trees that grow in Eretz Yisrael. These are the trees that you can find that really are native to the land of Israel. First, we can start with the olive tree that we have over here. The season of the olive tree has olives around December time, so we've already harvested them, we already picked them. And you can find along the streets, as you go through Gush Etzion near Efrat, you'll find olive trees everywhere. Another one of the Shivat Haminim that is native to this area is the Rimon Tree. Now, as you can see, it's quite bare. The season for the Rimon Tree ends around Rosh Hashanah. Now, I think you're getting a sense of how the trees of Israel really connect to all the holidays. We had the Zayit tree, the olive tree, which makes the oil, which starts to bring its fruit and be able to make oil around December time, Hanukkah. And we have the Rimon tree that is connected, that ends up around Rosh Hashanah time, right for the Yamim Nora'im. Now, it's not only the fact that many of the trees connect so much to the holidays, but also the number of mitzvot that surround planting a garden and growing fruits in the land of Israel is enormous. There are so many mitzvot that you can do just right here in a garden in the land of Israel. Now let's get back to our original question. Why is it that Tu B'Shvat is celebrated around the middle of winter, in the middle of Shvat, when it's still raining? Now, if you look here at our lemon tree, you can see we've already picked a lot of the lemons. There's a couple of them left. And it is really the season where the lemons start to be ready to be picked. However, this specific lemon tree, we picked all the fruits and then we put them in a bag and left them on the side, and we didn't eat them. Why did we not eat them? Because this is actually quite a young tree. It is 3 years old. And when you have a tree that's under 3 years old, then you're not allowed to eat any of the fruits. That's a mitzvah called orla. For the first 3 years of a tree, you're not allowed to eat anything that grows. On the 4th year, you pick all the fruits, you go to Yerushalayim, and you can only eat them in Yerushalayim. Now, what do you do with the fruits for the first 3 years? You just have to leave them be, take them off, let the tree grow, and you can't actually eat them. The question is, how do you count the years? How do you count the years of an orla tree? Well, it kind of works like this. In general, it has to be 3 years, but they're not full years. As long as you plant your tree before Tu B'Shvat, once it reaches Tu B'Shvat, it counts as a full year. So if you plant the tree a month and a half before Tu B'Shvat, once Tu B'Shvat comes around, the tree is 1 year old. Then you wait another year, and then a 3rd year, and then you're allowed to eat the fruit. So actually, Tu B'Shvat is not a celebration necessarily of spring, but rather it's a celebration of the trees gaining a year towards the ability to eat them when you plant them in your garden. So therefore, it's actually quite a momentous time. Finally, my tree has gained a year. It's a birthday for the trees. Rosh Hashanah Le'ilanot. Once Tu B'Shvat hits, you're allowed to eat them. Another one of the important mitzvot that surround fruits and vegetables in the land of Israel is the mitzvah of Trumot U'Masrot. That means that when you pick fruits from your garden or from any orchard in Israel, you can't just eat all of the fruits. Rather, you have to do certain mitzvot. Whenever you pick a fruit, you got to take the Trumot U'Masrot. The Trumot go to the Kohanim, and the Masrot go to either the Levi'im, the poor people, or to Yerushalayim to be eaten near the Beit HaMikdash. And that's still true today. Anytime we pick fruits from our garden, we have to do Trumot U'Masrot. Let's go inside and see how it's. I have here in front of us some olives from our tree in our garden, and these olives have been brining for the past couple of months after we picked them, because actually olives aren't very tasty unless you go through a brining process to make them edible. But now we want to eat them, and so therefore we have to take trumot u'maasrot. And the way it works is as follows. The first amount that you take is truma for the kohen. Truma is actually the smallest amount that you take off, and it has to be eaten by a kohen when he is tahor. Since kohanim today are not tahor, we actually just take it out and put it on the side, and they are not actually eaten. The minhag is to take about 2% of the amount of fruits and put them aside for the kohen. Then you take 10% for the Levi, and 10%, that's called Maaser Rishon. 10% of the fruit go to a Levi. Now, a Levi does not have to be tahor in order to eat the Maaser. You can give it to any Levi that you know, anywhere from the neighborhood. You can give them some of your Maaser Rishon. However, 1% or 10% of the Maaser Rishon actually has to go to Truma. So even a Levi has to take Truma. So you take 1% of your Trumot Maaser Rishon and you put it into your Truma pile. Then there is something called Maaser Sheni or Maaser Ani, which are, depending on the year in the 7-year cycle, you will either give to a poor person 10% of your fruits, or you would take for yourself to Yerushalayim 10%. This year is a year of Maaser Ani, so we take 10% and we put it on the side, and that 10% goes to a Ani. So we have in front of us 4 different things. We had our Truma that goes to the Kohen, the Maaser Rishon that goes to the Levi. We took out one piece of the Maaser Rishon and we gave that to the Kohen, and then we have Maaser Ani that goes to poor people. After that, we're able to, there's a bracha you say on the mitzvah of Trumot Maaserot, and then you can eat your olives in B'tei Avon. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri haaretz.